Okay, welcome to another video. Today we're going to take a look at GeckoLinux, which is based on openSUSE. I wasn't originally planning on checking out GeckoLinux, however I'm working on something else and it's taking me far much longer than I thought it was originally going to. So we're going to fill that gap and just have a quick run through of GeckoLinux. I've never used it, I don't know really too much about it apart from what we can read on the screen here. So there's a few key differences that they have that differentiate themselves from openSUSE. A few of those are an offline installable live DVD USB image for static and rolling editions, whereas openSUSE has a non-live DVD USB installer. GeckoLinux offers customized editions optimized for different desktop environments, whereas openSUSE requires the user to know how to install patterns and packages for different desktop environments. See, I don't think that's a bad thing though. One of the things that I like the most about openSUSE is the whole installation process and the fact that you can manually select different packages and patterns for the desktop environments and programs that are installed out of the box. But I guess for maybe new users, this approach might make things a little bit easier. So it comes pre-installed with common niceties such as proprietary media codecs, whereas openSUSE for legal reasons does not. It prefers packages from the Pacman repo when they are available. It comes pre-configured with what many would consider to be good font rendering, whereas many users find openSUSE's default font configuration to be less than desirable. So I wasn't actually aware of this. Whenever I've used openSUSE, I've been absolutely fine with the fonts. It's never really bothered me whatsoever, the rendering of the fonts. There's a couple more things. So GeckoLinux desktop programs can be uninstalled with all their dependencies, whereas openSUSE's patterns often can cause uninstalled packages to be automatically reinstalled. So they've got quite a few different versions here. All of the desktop environments are the same across their static and rolling releases. So of course their static will be based upon openSUSE Leap 15.2 in particular, which I recently did a review on. I'll chuck a link up there if you want to watch that as well. And then also has the rolling releases, which of course are based upon openSUSE Tumbleweed, which is openSUSE's rolling release distro. So what I've gone and done is I've downloaded the GNOME ISO, which was about 1.4 GB in size. It took quite a while to download though, because it was hosted on SourceForge, and I never get good download speeds on that website, and there wasn't any additional mirrors that I could choose from, because it appears that this has been updated quite recently. So if we go on to here, you should be able to see the actual day. We'll let that go through. We'll just, see there's no additional servers to download it from at the moment, but it was originally uploaded about 2 days ago, I do believe. So like I said, we've gone for the GNOME version and we are on the live ISO right now. So we're going to go ahead and install it, have a little look around and see what we think basically. So let's get out of that. So do we have installer? There we go, install system. So it's going to use Calamares as the installer, which is a fairly decent, it's a competent installer. I have no issues with it, but I do just quite like the openSUSE's installer. So we're going to go for British English and go next. We're going to jump all the way through that. Let's quickly make sure the keyboard is working. It is indeed. Okay, we're going to do their erase disk and we're not going to bother manual, so we're going to see how it sets things up. So we have a completely free disk here. We're going to go for swap and with hibernate, so we can test out the hibernating out of the box. That should work though, because it works absolutely fine on openSUSE. So we have a 300 megabytes EFI. Okay, so that's better than openSUSE's one. I think openSUSE used like 500 if I remember, and I didn't think that was quite necessary. So you got 300 EFI. You have a 34 gig swap, because I've got 32 gig RAM in here, so it's going to be quite a large swap because it's going to enable hibernate. And then we have the rest en route of about 84.5 GB. Now let's do our user accounts and let's call this one Gecko. Type in our passwords. Cool. Right, we're going to let that run through. We've also checked automatically install, so we get straight to the desktop as soon as we are ready. Okay, that looks all good to me. So we're going to install it now. So the time is now 6:01, so I'm just going to quickly write that down so we can see how long it took for us to actually install this distribution. I'm going to imagine it's going to be quite quick compared to openSUSE though, because as I said, it's only a 1.4 GB ISO. And as I said, you can also do it offline, so I don't think it's going to be downloading a whole lot of extra stuff. So I'm going to pause the video here and then we'll be back in a moment once it's installed. Okay, and we're back. So the installation process was very quick. So it's now 6:04, so it's about 3 to 4 minutes give or take, which is a lot quicker than the openSUSE's installer, so I'm going to give it that. What we're going to do now is reinstall, restart and then boot off disk. So it still uses the old openSUSE bootloader page and stuff, and it's picked up I think most of the distros that are on here at the moment. Oh, by the way, Ferren OS have just had their 5-year birthday, so there's been 5 years of Ferren OS now, and they've got a new snapshot out. If you want to go and download that, I'll be doing a video on that at some point as well. So let's jump into GeckoLinux and see what's what. We will have to very quickly change the display and make sure it's mirrored correctly. So it still uses the tumbleweed branding there on the start screen. Okay, and we're in. I've just got to quickly go into the display settings. And let's just do a quick little mirror. Keep changes and it should be with you in just a second. There we go, so we are rolling. So let's just quickly see, this should be the very latest or the closest to it version of GNOME. So we are using GNOME version 3.36.4. Right, so what does this thing come installed with out of the box? I'm not sure if I like these icons. What icons are they? We'll have a look at that in a moment. Okay, so application wise you get a fair bit there. So you have Clementine as your movie player, GNOME Disks of course, you have Firefox as your default web browser, comes installed with gparty to manage disks, it has gpaste, I don't think I've used gpaste before. Image viewers, probably Eye of GNOME or something. You have LibreOffice, the full suite from what I can tell. You also have photos there. Was that Pigeon? Yep, you have Pigeon, the multi-protocol chat client. openSUSE Studio, Thunderbird is your default email client, Transmission for torrents, VLC media player, and then just the YAST stuff. So it looks like a fairly straightforward setup from what I can tell. So let's get out of that and see what this theming is. Let's go into appearance. Do we have tweaks even? We do have tweaks out of the box. I always like it when a GNOME distro gives you tweaks out of the box because it's kind of a bit useless trying to customize it without. So we don't actually have any shell theme there whatsoever. So we're going to have to install Chrome GNOME shell and see if we can get a nice little shell theme. So the application theme though is Numix, and it doesn't come with many other additionals there. You have the default Adwater of course. Okay, so there's not too much extra stuff there at all really. So we might want to download a few different icon packs and things to make it look a bit nicer. So that icon theme is called Fenza. I'm not sure I like it. Let's open up the file and see what the folder view looks like. Oh, so it's in the list view by default as well. Let's change it to that. Yeah, I don't quite like these icons to be fair. Let's grab some new icons and stuff, and while we're there we can check out the installer for YAST software and see if there's anything interesting about what they've done with that. Let's type in our password. This is just a repo page. Yeah, so as you can see there, we've got the Pacman repos out of the box. It also has the Google Chrome, Google Talk, Skype. Okay, so it's got a fair few additional repos there. Okay, let's get out of that and install new software. Install. Let's see if it's this one. Nope, it's the same one again. I think that's the annoying thing about the application launcher in GNOME. You can't actually see the whole title of something. You get the 3 dots, so you're kind of guessing which package is which. Is this the one I want? It might just be. Yeah, I think it is. So it's loading the configured I'll be able to say it in a second. It's loading the configured repositories. That's going to take a couple of seconds by the looks of it though. Why is that title bar so long? So there, why is the arrow there? That's a bit strange. Okay, so let's go on to repositories and see what other stuff's there. So you could have a quick install for Google Chrome if you wanted to. Yeah, let's test that out then. Let's go to Google Stable and then just install that. What else have we got? So we've got the Tumbleweed, we have Skype, Pacman for Tumbleweed. So I imagine quite a lot of this is already installed, and then you've got loads of additional things here as well. And that's all going to be coming from the Pacman repo, which means your codecs and stuff as well should all work as it should out of the box. So you also have the patterns there, which you find in the installer on openSUSE if you wanted to go that route. And that's pretty cool. Let's search for some theming. Let's try Mocha icon theme. Mocha. We have the Mocha icon theme, so we're going to install that, and we're also going to install Google Chrome at the same time. And then what we're also going to do is jump onto Firefox and see if we can download the Lion GNOME theme. I'm not a massive fan of Layen on GNOME. It's my favourite on KDE, but I'm not too sure what I feel about it on GNOME. But we'll have a look how it all looks together. As I said, I'm not quite a fan of this Numix theme out of the box. Right, let's download the Layen dark theme. Let's go for dark. Okay, so that's going to be saved, and we'll extract that to the theme folder. How is our packages coming along? So that's still going. So if we go into the folder now. Yeah, these icons aren't really doing it for me. Let's see what hidden files we've got. So we don't have any icons or theme folders there. So we're going to quickly make them folders now. And that'll be ready for when we want to install this theme here. So let's just extract that to the theme folder. Oh, it's extracted it there. Let's go into themes, copy that straight over, and I do believe that's finished. Perfect. So now we should be able to go into the tweaks package and change the theming around a bit. So let's go into appearance now. We're still not getting a shell because we're going to need to add the Chrome GNOME. I'll tell you what, let's quickly do that while we're doing that as well. Let's just do it with zipper. Oh, we've got no keyboard shortcut for terminal as well. I hate it when there's no pre-configured shortcut for the terminal. Control-Alt-T. Chrome GNOME shell. I think that's what we want. Oh, so it's already installed. Okay, that's pretty cool as well. Alright, let's go on to GNOME extensions then. And we're just going to have to install the browser plugin, and then we can change the extensions and the user theme and stuff. So it does have quite a lot already set up for a new user, to be fair, so it might make the transition from Windows, for example, a bit easier for someone who's not quite sure how to do things on Linux. Right, let's refresh that page now. Bang, right, let's grab user themes. Also, one of my favourite extensions I do believe has finally been updated to work. Let's see if we can get some dynamic panel transparency. For a long time when 3.36 came out, this was very slow to update the actual extension. There we go. We're going to change that though, because I like it to be like semi-transparent but dynamic when you're in full screen. Nice. Right, let's have a little look then. So let's reopen tweaks. And we should now be able to change the shell theme. There we go. So let's go to Layen dark. And let's go for applications, Layen dark. And let's change the icons to Mocha. There we go. Right, let's jump into the extensions page and go on to this one here. Right, we want to go to background, enable custom opacity. And let's make that about 40. There you go. So you get a nice little shade. Kind of reminds me of how like the default look of Ubuntu was 18.04, and then they disabled the transparency in 20.04. But now when you full screen it, you'll get a nice little solid colour. The transition's quite slow by default though, so what I tend to do is just completely take it all the way down. Then it's pretty much instant when you full screen an application. Okay, so far so good. Let's see if this whole codec stuff works as it should then, because when I've used openSUSE, I've tried to play certain couple of my videos on YouTube and none of them would work because of the codec. So what I did is I installed the Pacman repo and then reinstalled a few things from there, and then it worked as you'd expect. But as this is already using the codecs and the Pacman repositories, we should have no issue playing a video on YouTube. And I know a couple of my videos do have trouble with it. I think this one didn't work by default. Let's just skip into that. So yeah, video is all working fine. I don't see any tearing either, and there wasn't any tearing present on openSUSE, so there shouldn't be any tearing present on here either. We'll just do a quick test to make sure. Yeah, no screen tearing whatsoever, so that's all well and good. The sound is working. I think my speakers are just turned off. Okay, the reason why I don't like the Layen theme, by the way, is everything looks nice apart from the Files app. I just think that looks wrong. I don't like the bluey purple there. I don't mind it in the title bar, but just here, no, I don't think I can get too used to that. Right, let's see if they've got any different wallpapers. One of my things about openSUSE is I think it needs to have like a visual refresh and get some new eye candy, and what goes a long way for eye candy tends to be a wallpaper. However, they have kind of just gone the old openSUSE route and not really included any extra wallpapers. So you have the classic openSUSE wallpaper there, which to be fair doesn't look too bad with that transparency shade and stuff. So we'll leave it like that. And the other wallpaper has just vanished on us for some bizarre reason. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Let's see how much RAM this thing uses. Oh, I keep forgetting we don't have a shortcut for terminal. Right, let's scroll all the way down. Yeah, the laying theme looks very nice in other applications. It's just the files app I can't get down with. There we go. Right, let's get out of that and let's see if we have htop installed out of the box. No, so let's quickly install htop. Yes. I've been testing out openSUSE Tumbleweed as well on another machine to see how it would actually fare as like a daily driver, comparing it to Arch, obviously because they're both rolling. It's doing pretty well, to be fair. It's quite tempting to switch over. I'm not sure I'm going to, but definitely tempting. Okay, so RAM wise, this thing is using at the moment 844 megabytes. Okay, what I'm going to do is grab dash to dock from GNOME extensions. We're going to test out the Hibernate and we'll see how much RAM this thing uses at boot, but it's just going to be a quick one for this GeckoLinux because we did check out openSUSE Leap very recently and I don't think too much is really different apart from what we read out on the website there. So let's go back onto the GNOME extensions and we're going to grab dash to dock. Bang. I'm using GNOME less and less these days, to be fair. I'm kind of sort of having to remember how to do things. Did I see a hot corner? Okay, it's automatically the worst distro ever now because it's got. I'm joking. I really don't like hot corners though. So we're going to have to get another extension. I think it's like no top left hot corner. Because as far as I'm aware, there's no default settings in the GNOME settings to get rid of hot corners. You think they would, like in KDE you have the screen edges settings, but I'm pretty sure you don't have anything like that on GNOME. Let's just check tweaks before we download that extension. Oh, I do like that it has by default the minimize, maximize Windows title bars. I didn't notice that at first just because I'm so used to it being there, I'll always install it automatically. So it's quite nice to see that they do have that out of the box in your Windows title bars, so minimize and maximize. Right, I can't see anything for screen edges and stuff like that, so we're going to have to download this extension here. The only thing about GNOME, you have to download a whole lot of extensions to do certain things that you really shouldn't have to. There should be settings for these things, I think anyway. Right, let's jump back into tweaks now. And hopefully that has enabled it. No top left, there we go, so that has gone. Okay, so let's now test out, I'll tell you what, before we test out hibernation, let's just change this dash to dock around a little bit. So let's make it shrink, and we want that to be a dynamic colour to match the top bar. So let's go to customize dash, oh no, don't do that. Dynamic, and we're going to change the transparency. Minimum, so we had it 40 at the top, didn't we? So we're going to do it 40 here. There we go. So that should look pretty much the same as that. We've shrunk that with that bit. It's kept the rounded corners, which is quite nice in the laying theme. Yeah, the only thing about laying, I just wish that they didn't have that on the files application, or just had one that was solid colour and not the mixture of two, because then I would definitely use Layon on GNOME. Yeah, the whole window's transparent as well. It's a very nice theme. I just can't gel with that. Okay, let's just bring that down to about 32 and we'll leave it there. Right, let's test out Hibernate. Do we have any extension or anything that has Hibernate in the actual menu here? Nope. So let's see if we can grab an extension for Hibernate as well. Hibernate status button. Right, that should now have Hibernate. There. This is what I mean. I think all of this should just be there. I don't think you should have to download too many extensions to get this sort of additional use out of the desktop that you would expect to be there. Right, let's test out Hibernate. If it doesn't work with that, we'll have to do it with systemctl or something. Right, it's gone off on my screen. We'll give it a couple of seconds, then I'm going to mash enter once I can hear the fans turned off. It's still going. Okay, so the Hibernate just didn't work at all then. I had to have manually just forced the computer off and then restart it, which was quite strange. We're going to try it in the terminal and see if perhaps that extension's not set up properly to actually enable the hibernation. So let's try it in here. Right, so we've just done the terminal command, systemctl hibernate. Screen's gone off here. Obviously it won't go off on the capture card. I might have spoke too soon. I do believe the whole desktop's gone off entirely now. So hopefully if I press my enter button, it will start back up with the same windows that you can see on the application on the screen right now. So I've just hit enter. Machine started up. Let's see if we have those same programs that are currently on the screen in the frozen capture image. Okay. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Let's jump straight into it. We're getting no resuming from Hibernate or anything that I can see. Come on. There you go. So it has worked out of the box. It took far much longer than what I would have expected it generally to take, to be fair with you. Right, I'm just going to see if it's got Flatpak installed out of the box, because openSUSE does on some of their versions and doesn't on others, and obviously there was that issue with openSUSE Leap 15.2 where you had to delete a Flatpak folder in order to be able to actually enable Flatpak repository. We'll go and try that now then. I do believe the issue that I'm referring to isn't actually present in Tumbleweed though, and as this is based off of Tumbleweed, it shouldn't really be present here either. Let's just go on to the quick start on flathub.org. Firefox wants to wake up. Or perhaps it doesn't. Okay, Firefox just isn't loading now. How very strange. Let's try Chrome. We did install Chrome, didn't we? We did. Nope, nope. Right, let's just jump onto flathub.org. Once we restart to check the RAM, I'm pretty sure Firefox will work. It's obviously just having a weird issue, probably down to the whole thing that we just tried to do with Hibernate, but at least Hibernate did work eventually. Right, let's go to quick setup, openSUSE, and we're just going to grab this repo here and see if it works the way it should. Like I said, it does work on Tumbleweed. Perfect. And I'm going to imagine at some point it will work on Leap as intended as well. Right, what we're going to do now is do a quick restart. Oh, it wants a password for our ring. Shut up, phone. Right, we're going to do a quick reboot now, and then we're going to check the RAM, and we're going to wrap it up there, and we're just going to double check to make sure Firefox is still working for whatever bizarre reason that it might not. Okay, so we're back in business. We're using about 670 megabytes RAM there, which isn't too bad considering we've installed a couple of GNOME extensions and a couple of additional packages here and there. What I want to do though before we wrap this video up is make sure that Firefox is working and that it was just a weird little issue with the Hibernate that we did there. No, Firefox still isn't loading up. Let's try and uninstall it and reinstall it. I'm not sure why Firefox has decided that it doesn't want to work for us, but we're going to give it a go. So that's going to free up 195, and then we're just going to reinstall it. And hopefully that cures whatever problem that we was having with Firefox. I'm going to imagine something might have happened with the Hibernate. I don't know what would have caused it, but the Hibernate did seem to be a bit temperamental until it eventually did work. Okay, let's see if we can open up Firefox now and see what was going on there. There we go, and it's remembered the page that we was on as well. I'm not sure what happened with that, but at least we know that that works. So to wrap up then, I would probably still recommend people use openSUSE over this. However, if you are someone that doesn't want to mess around with codecs and different repos and just wants your media to work, maybe give this a go. And if for some reason you find the installer off-putting of openSUSE and you just want a live environment, then this probably is a good alternative. Personally though, I would still just stick to openSUSE, Tumbleweed or Leap. They're both very good distributions. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and also join the Discord. There's a link in the description. See you on the next one. Bye bye.